And we are
Stethoscope Diaries.
I'm Dr. Coates.
I'm Dr. Tanya.
Is the Dr. Tanya Franklin. And this episode is all about her. I don't know if you all been following Auntie MD on social media lately. She's on Instagram, and this is new because she posted about a very unique and special experience she was a part of and spearheaded. She just got back from Ghana, from Africa. This is a big deal, and we are going to spend this episode talking about her experiences, okay? I got to remind the people, because we did one intro episode, a little brief 20 minutes of who we are.
Yes.
But I don't know if they remember who you are and what you do on your everyday. So can you remind our followers, our viewers, what do you do in your everyday work? What is your passion?
Sure. So I am a generalist physician, OBGYN. So that means I do everything.
She does.
I do OB, GYN, hysterectomies, vaginal delivery, C-sections, pap smears, everything. And that's why I went into OBGYN. I love the variety aspect of it. Yes. I am also a professor at a university. I teach medical students, high school students too.
Yes.
Residents and fellows I interact with. And then I have my own people that I love to see and take care of.
Yes. So I'm going to remind you, Dr. Franklin trained me at an academic institution, which is a big deal. So she is an academic physician. So she brings up other people along the way with her. So this is amazing.
That's
so now
nice.
she took her passions all the way to Ghana. Okay, so tell me, how did this experience come about?
It was very interesting because I love reading different news articles and just keeping up with what's going on in the city at our institution. And I saw this article about this group of pediatricians that go to Ghana just about every year.
Nice.
And they were part of the university. And I was thinking, well, why does the pediatric department have a relationship there and we can't have one?
Right.
So I'm like, we've got to do something about this.
I love this.
There's a lot of maternal mortality in the U.S. It's even more great in other parts of the world. And I thought that would be a great opportunity for me to broaden my horizons in teaching and my own learning.
So where did you go?
Okay, so we went to Ghana and we went to Tamale Teaching Hospital, which is in Tamale, Ghana, which is in northern Ghana in the rural area.
Okay.
So it's not the big city, but the big city in Ghana is well covered with medical care and supplies and resources. And it's the northern part of Ghana that is like rural Kentucky or rural any other state that is going to suffer. And that's where we went, as they have a lot of needs.
So it was a low resource area.
Yes, it was. It's actually a teaching hospital, so it's really big. It's about 4 or 5 floors.
Oh, wow.
And they are actually the referral center for the rest of northern Ghana. So they have a lot of sick patients that come in for care. They have a lot of sick patients that are transferred in from other places.
Yeah.
So they are really like the last stop for people when they're really sick.
I love it. So I know that you bring a lot to our academic institutions here. And we're speaking of our academic institution in the state of Kentucky, but your reach goes very far. You have a very, a lot of expertise in not only contraception and family planning and just being a general OBGYN. So you have trained a lot of people, not only here in Kentucky. Now you've taken this all the way to Ghana. So what was your day-to-day like while you were there?
Well, I made a commitment to make sure that I'm giving something to them, that I'm just not just coming there to try to get surgeries and try to do deliveries and try to take. I wanted to go there knowing that I was going to leave something.
I love that.
So that required, them to see me different. Like, I'm not just there to take, I'm there to give. I'm there to share the knowledge that I have. And so my goal when I was going was to what can I teach? What am I good at?
Yes.
And so my goal was to have family planning education. I gave a lecture every day on some topic. I love ultrasound too.
Yes.
So I talked about ultrasound and a lot of complex medical conditions that I know they see. And I gave a lecture every day. And then the afternoon, I did training where I trained them in things that they felt like they had some needs in their education. And then I got to do some learning and patient care as well.
Yeah. Is there a specific patient experience your time there? Because you were there over 2 weeks,
2 weeks.
Well, is there a certain patient experience your time there that like touched you? You don't have to go into details, but is there any specific experience that you're like, this is going to change how I practice medicine, even moving forward, coming back home?
I think the thing that really, there are a few cases, but one in particular was a young lady who came in because she had not started her period. And she's 17 years old, and her grandmother's given her a lot of pressure, like, you need to be getting married. Why aren't you menstruating yet?
Right.
So this young lady had not menstruated. And so we were trying to do an ultrasound on her, and we were just doing the abdominal ultrasound because she had not been sexually active, and we didn't want to put a probe in to the vagina. So we examined her and saw she had no breast development.
I got you.
She had like very little pubic hair. And when I put the ultrasound on her abdomen, I didn't see anything. So she had normal external female genitalia, but we are suspicious she didn't have a uterus.
Yes.
So this is a Müllerian anomaly, like some kind of an anomaly that she was born with, where the internal structures didn't develop. And I was just thinking, first of all, culturally, that's different.
Yes, it
for
is.
us here in the U.S.
Right.
Young ladies, some of them are not getting married. Some young ladies don't want children and never bear children, and that's okay. That's what their choice
And
is.
it's not a right.
Yeah, it's not a desire, but it's also not necessary to survive.
Of course.
And
yes.
so that really impacted me because I know that if it is true, because we still had some other testing to do, that her life will be limited in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, just culturally. Yeah.
Another situation I had is that we had a patient. Well, I was in the high risk clinic working and staffing, and I was like, I am the high risk doctor today.
Yes.
They were asking me questions, and I'm like, this is some of the things that, I'm familiar with.
Of course.
We manage high-risk patients at our university,
Yes.
but usually I'm getting like a consult from the maternal fetal medicine. I'm like, I'm the maternal fetal medicine doctor today, and that's just fine.
Yes. I know. Shout out to those MFM maternal fetal medicine doctors out there.
Yes.
I know, because I feel like that is a special place for you to be, like, because that can be a little bit intimidating at times, because you're like, I am here to be a resource, and now you all are seeing me as the person who may know the answers to all things, and you're like, but sometimes I'm a learner too. Right. And I feel like that is a very vulnerable place to be, and kind of,
it is vulnerable. And it made me think, like, I do know a lot.
Yes.
Like, I have so much to share. I have so much to teach. Like, if they didn't know some of these things, these are like easy fixes.
Yes.
Like, for us to provide education through the year for them, and then culminated in a big annual trip to do hands-on stuff, like, that would be my ultimate goal, because I feel like we could make a difference as a university, as colleagues and friends, to go and provide that education for them.
I love that. Y'all enjoying this latest episode? If so, like, subscribe, share with all your family and friends. We want to keep bringing you episodes and content like this, but we also want to know what you want to hear. So don't forget to comment. Let's go back to that episode. So we're talking about all the amazing things, the education that you were able to bring while you were there. But other things include, what experiences from there do you think you've brought home? Not even think, because it's funny. I'm going to give you a story. So I'm going to shout out to one of my old attendings, Dr. Klein. Hello.
Oh.
I met her, and we had lunch.
Yes.
And it was a little good lunch. And she told me you had came back, and she was like, Dr. Franklin is glowing.
And I'm not bullshitting, man. I seen like an orange, his aura or whatever. I seen it. It was orange.
Like, you can tell that her fire is like reignited. You always walk around with so much passion, but she was like, this is different. She's glowing. You can tell that, like, she had, like, her purpose has like shifted a little bit. And I think that's amazing, right? So what is one thing, if you can think of one, that you feel like you have brought back here that may change how you care for patients here?
So what I've learned from my travels to Ghana is gratitude. I feel like I have gratitude every day. I feel grateful for the patients that I see, but it's just, I really want to reach out to them and just say thank you. I want to hug people. I just want to touch people, like be physical and let them know that I appreciate them. I'm so grateful for the opportunity to take care of them. I'm grateful that they allow my residents to work with them, to take care of them, and my medical students to come into the room and talk with them and even sometimes do their exams. That is just a gift.
I agree.
And, when we are thinking about maternal mortality in this country, and we do struggle with it when you compare us to other very advanced, wealthy countries. But in Tamale, they have a maternal mortality of 10 to 12 women a month.
Oh, wow.
So for the doctors to just be so grateful all the time, to see the patients be grateful, for me to just see how they handle really difficult situations, really good situations, happy situations, always with gratitude, I could take that and keep that for life. And I am so grateful for that opportunity and that lesson that I learned.
That is so beautiful, sis. I can see it on you. And thank you so much for sharing that story and that experience with us. Yeah. So, sis, we have talked about how one of the things you're hoping to set up is a rotation in the future. And so I am so looking forward to go on a experience like this for the education, and just ultimately just to learn from a different culture. And so, for someone like me who has not gone on an international trip, there's a lot of international mission trips that some doctors and learners take. What is your one piece of advice in general for individuals like myself who are looking to have an experience as special as yours?
Well, I think that getting connected with an institution that does global health, I think that's a start because there are real academic specialties in global health. So some institutions have global health where they go to certain continents and they have certain experiences set up. There are groups of people where this is their passion.
Yeah.
And whether they are completely academic or they're medical or non-medical, there are people that are committed to this. They learn about travelers medicine and dealing with like malaria, diseases that we don't see here.
Yeah.
So getting connected with people like that. There's organization like Supplies Overseas,
Nice. Yeah.
where you can bring supplies to countries that are in need of like medical equipment or other kind of equipment. You can also make an effort to bring just supplies in general. So there's lots of organizations that can help you accomplish those things.
Yeah. Thank you. That's some really good advice. I appreciate that. Sis, this has been so amazing to sit here and talk about your experience, the teaching you were able to do, but also the things that you learned. I feel like it was reciprocated. We talked a lot about your experience in the hospital, and we can, with the stories you've shared, I can feel, that gratitude that you speak of. But I got to see a lot of pictures and some videos of some things that you shared outside of your work in the hospital.
Yes.
And so, what is one memorable or life changing experience that you had while you were in Ghana that wasn't associated with your hospital experience?
Well, I think just being in Ghana, in West Africa, where we originated from as Black people, was very emotional. And I definitely felt a connection there. When I started out the trip and I went for my first lecture and I was introducing myself, telling them who I was, and I was like, I may have been from this country. I don't know. And
Yeah.
it sparked a lot of laughter,
Yeah.
but it's true.
Yeah.
And they basically, by the end of the trip, it was very emotional because they said, Dr. Tanya, because they call the female doctors with by their first name, Dr. Tanya, you are Ghanaian now. We claim you and you claim us. I was given 2 African names.
Okay.
So it was wonderful. And then once we left Tamale to go to the city to catch our international flight, we stayed there for a couple days and we took a drive to the Cape Coast, which is one of the slave castles where we were enslaved and held until each slave ship came about every 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah, so we got to go around the slave castle and it was very emotional.
Yes.
And it was really difficult to imagine the inhumane conditions and just the lack of humanity that people can have.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting. It was a big castle. It was right on the ocean. So the view you saw was the beautiful ocean and the wonderful sun. It was a beautiful sunset. And the people, the Africans that they brought here to this castle to prepare for shipment off to all parts of the world, maybe had never even seen an ocean before.
Yeah.
They'd never seen some of these things. So it was so scary for them, I'm sure.
Right.
Very difficult, and not knowing what was beyond
that. Yeah.
those walls. So it was very interesting. We walked around. We got to see like where they held the male slaves, where they held the female slaves, how they were in these rooms with a very small window, and that's all they had for air. And it was very difficult. We were in a room that was like part of the dungeon, and there were about 30 of us in the room, and there was room for us, but they said this room held 120 to 150 people at one time.
That is so powerful.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. And to know that this is where our ancestors left, and they were never to see their home again.
Right.
They never were able to use their language, use their culture, their customs. It was stripped from them. And knowing here I am coming full circle back as a physician,
Yes.
as a doctor,
Yes.
to walk through that door and know that like I've brought my ancestors back home.
Sis, I know. I know. When I saw that picture, I get emotional, and we got to end it there.
I
We
know.
truly do.
It was beautiful. I recommend anybody go to West Africa, any part of Africa. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful country. The people are beautiful, and we can give so much, and we can learn so much from them.
Well, thank you, sis. I got to touch you after this.
Girl.
That was so powerful. Well, thank you for sharing your experience with us. And we love y'all. We hope y'all learned something from this, or just learning a little bit more about someone I love dearly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Hi, we are so happy you came to join us today. Like, subscribe, send us some messages. Let us know what you want to hear about. Thank you.
So you told me while you were there,
Yes.
you were given 2 African names.
Yes.
Tell me how that came about.
Oh my gosh. Well, I told you that they claimed me and I
Yes.
claimed them.
Absolutely.
So they had this big argument about, they wanted to give me my African names, my Ghanaian names, and which dialect it was going to be in.
Okay.
So they were kind of going back and forth. They're like, no, it should be in this one. No, this is the one. So I got 2 names.
Yes.
Dr. Tanya Talata Abina.
I love that.
Yeah, aren't they
Yes.
beautiful?
That is really beautiful.
You know what they mean?
No, tell me.
Female born on Tuesday.
Okay. I love it. It sounds so poetic though.
It was beautiful. I was
Yes.
like, that is so wonderful. Well, they were like, Dr. Tanya, what day were you born? I was like, I don't know.
Yes.
So I had to look through my calendar and back in my the year, and I was born on Tuesday. And some of them were like, that's my name too. Like, I was
it.
born on a Tuesday and I am a female.
Yeah.
It was so cute. It was
So
funny.
say it one more time for me.
Talata Abina.
Talata Abina. So you can reach or find and follow you on
Yes.
Instagram where?
Aunt TMD.
Right.
The link is down here.
Yep.
Follow. I've chronicled everything.
Yes. And then you can find me at Dr. T Coates. And you can find us both at Stethoscope Diaries on Instagram as well as Facebook. We see y'all
Yes.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.
We are here at Zena Lodge in the Mole National Park. And we just arrived. We had a 3-hour drive, and it is incredible.
Baby, oh. I didn't mean to have that. I definitely don't want here to cheese. Yes. This a tent. This is the type of tent you like.
This is
The only type of tent that my wife would stay in ever.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Say you go know me if this money no day. Say you go call me if this Johnny no take. Say you go see me if this bed do no day. Le baton, le baton, le baton, le baton. Oh baby, sound it. You know the story. I love you, baby. Should buy a tele. heart's heavy, your body banging. You're such a woman, superwoman. Don't settle for the less, but if you say you want more, I'm looking for the best and nothing but the best side. You know you blow my mind, you got me on this one side. I'm wanting all your love, I'm counting on your trust, girl. Le bâton, le bâton, le bâton, le bâton, le bâton, le bâton, le bâton. Say you